On today's Minute of the Apes, I'm actually doing some good stuff in the Star Wars battle.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd.
You saw my victory.
This morning, that's the first time that we've really teased into that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is going on, and I now watch as my two dear friends sit across from me playing with their phones and doing. Now Richard's not playing.
I'm doing work.
He's doing.
Oh, yeah,
I'm doing work too.
Well, I
Star
look up
Wars
at
work.
that. I slowly realize that because your phone's not in the landscape mode.
Yeah.
That you're actually looking
texting.
Yeah, you're actually doing real stuff. Man.
Yeah, why is it so weird to type in landscape mode versus portrait mode?
I think it's just because your thumbs have to reach even further.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm to the point where if it's in that landscape
You just
typing, I'm
talk?
like, whatever.
How often do you use voice to text?
All the time.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I can't stand typing text anymore.
JJ almost refuses to use it unless she's in the car. Then she'll do the talk to Google all the time.
And it's gotten much better, but there's still times, if you don't enunciate, it's going to put a wrong word in there. And my fault with that is that I don't end up checking the text message before I hit
just
send.
send it?
And with my voice, when I say and, it often comes out and says in instead of and.
Google still hasn't learned that Gertie does not mean dirty. Okay, I just took Dirty on a walk, and we're back home, and Dirty just was bad today.
I wish it would also learn.
Victory.
I don't use talk to text.
I got two
honestly.
victories in.
You what?
I don't use talk to text.
Do you not? I wish that.
Well, I'm surprised you actually use your phone to do anything because you never talk on your phone. You know what I'm saying?
I'd be kept on silent all the time.
I wish that it would learn. To me, so my daughter's name Abby is Abbey.
Oh, you have to teach to add the E.
It doesn't. It's never learned it because I always go correct it from it puts Abbie, and I wish it would just learn.
yeah.
I would correct it, and it should learn that.
It should have, yeah. It should have by now.
Anyway, there's Google Talk.
All
There's
right,
Star Wars
yeah.
Galaxy Heroes. Let's get into Space Jesus Talk. We are at minute 79. Sean, can you hang on with Galaxy Heroes?
Let me just set my crew here.
Richard's up against some time limitations here. And tell us what's going on with minute 79.
Come on, loading. Oh, really? It's going to go loaded. Boom, boom, autoplay. All right. We start minute 79 with a day for night army and ends with Davidson quoting Greece. He's the one that they want. The one that they want.
All right, here it comes. Minute 79, Planet of the Apes.
I saw them.
How many?
As far as I could see.
They just brought all his legions, which means the Senate has capitulated. The answer's to no one now.
You have to get your people out of here. Tell them to go to the mountains and hide while there's still a chance.
They won't listen to me.
This is a fight we can't win. I want you all to break up and scatter. I'll draw them off. I'm the one they want.
As of minute 79, we have an Oberon's worth of apes and humans, 2 displaced pods worth of humans and apes, so many wild humans in Ape City, minus 2 gorillas, humans on the loose, on monkeys on the march.
We begin by seeing the army with their torches held high, coming in right to left. We then cut to a horizon shot where we both have somebody running through the rocks up top, the kid riding the horse here, and Leo coming through the bottom out of the ship. He's no longer in the mountains, though. In that previous shot, who's that running in the mountains then? I just look at that and I'm curious. So they all gather together. We have the exchange that you heard about that this is a battle that they can't win. There's only one thing that can happen. And plus, then we must discuss also the government has dissolved their power and given him absolute control. We got to get to that point. This is a lot of back and forth visually. Lots of looking off, looking back to Leo and him having the who farted face as the humans kind of look around, and why they're suddenly all moving in towards his camera direction, I don't understand. He jumps atop a horse and then gives his little Braveheart speech to scatter into the mountains. Okay, so we have the ape army coming in. That's easy to discuss. We've already established that.
Right.
We cut to that wide shot.
I see what you're talking. I didn't notice that.
There's one
the person in the background. I didn't notice that until you pointed it out.
It feels like when you see that, you're like, okay, that's what it feels like. It feels like that should be Leo, because we've seen him up in the mountains.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
and that's why the first time I watched it, I'm like, how did Leo go in that short amount of time from being in the mountains to running out of the Oberon?
Well, hell, nothing else. They do bad continuity. Look, if you look at the wide shot, you see him running out and stop. Mm-hmm. And so he stops at 7 seconds, and then you see the kid on the horse ride up, and then you cut back to Leo, and he's running back out again to stop. The whole group isn't with him when he's running out. If you notice in the wide shot, he's running out by himself,
right?
And then in the shot where you see everybody, the whole group.
I don't understand why the Oberon is the perfect lush place to stay at night. Like, I don't know why.
Well, if it's so great, why isn't they living there all the time?
And it's this whole party, right?
Yeah.
They're all apparently sleeping inside this because I mean, it makes sense because it's coverage, but it's just weird that we would just suddenly see them all running out as if they've been not napping and they're still wearing their clothes. Like, it's just kind of odd.
Yeah.
The whole thing is very odd. So I think, to me, outside the weird continuity and the weird storytelling, the first thing that we must discuss, Thade has brought all his legions, which means the Senate has capitulated and he answers to no one now.
Hang on.
How does he know that?
Even before that, when he goes, how many, as far as I can see? Well, I can see for a ways, but if there was a line of one person in a row, that could be 100 people. If there's a line of 50 people in a row, that's a whole lot more than 100 people. So don't just say, as far as I can see, say thousands and thousands. Don't, as far as I can see. Fuck you with that nebulous answer.
We know that Thade wanted power over the Senate to do what he needed to do to exterminate
because
the
they
humans.
told us he wanted that.
Right.
We didn't see it. They told us.
So for Krull to kind of refer back to that, I needed Krull to say something like, if the army is that large,
then the only thing
Thade is unchecked.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And this will be
Agreed.
a bloodbath. Just something to let us know the severity of the situation. The Senate capitulating means nothing. Leo has no idea that the Senate is like
we don't need Star Wars Episode 1 politics talk.
Well, we don't know that the Senate was maybe the only thing holding
him
Thade back from doing that. At least not to Leo's knowledge. It doesn't
Especially
help
since
him.
we've only seen a senator. We haven't even seen a Senate meeting or anything like that.
I mean, right. And it could have been a conversation that Ari and Krull were having at the same time in front of Leo. Mm-hmm. How many people? That means Thade, Ari says, my father may have, just a little more.
There's two senators.
This is just really, this movie is just really dialogue light in terms of being able to give us a little bit more information. And it needed the severity of what's happening with the people that are coming. And the Senate capitulating means nothing to me and certainly means nothing to Leo.
Yeah.
So going back, I think Sean was the one that said, we don't need Star Wars prequel political talk. But what I do need is a political moment. I need to see a Senate. I need to see that.
I mean, you need to see the capitulation instead of just the hitting my chest, and
right.
you can do whatever you want.
Nothing. Yeah. It means
How
nothing
does one
when we
senator
hear
get to decide all this shit?
And it means so little that I've never seen the Senate getting in his way. To suddenly he has absolute power. Star Wars is already confusing enough in the prequels as it is when we give power to Palpatine. But Jesus Christ, at least they allowed it to kind of happen.
Some debates and stuff.
I never
like
thought
that.
I'd be like giving the prequels a nod, like you kind of did it well. But this movie, it's like you can't say this if you're not going to let me see it. And when it jumped to that moment, I've thrown my hands in the air so many times with this movie. That was the one I was like, I got out of my seat. And I'm like, this makes zero sense in this movie.
He then advises to Estella, Dana, tell them to go to the mountains and hide while there's a chance. That's not a plan. I mean,
Also,
what about you? What about your own party? Like, just like this, like, we need to go into the mountains and hide. Like all of us, not just these humans that have followed him, but him as well. Like, it should have been more like this is what we need to do to get out of it.
And the humans
Mountains,
should have
why
been
are
at
they-
that point. We're running. Why are we running? You know, they should have done. There should be inner turmoil within this group. There's nothing.
And then there's no passion in what she says.
They won't
listen to me. Honey,
Why?
nobody's listening to you.
I'm
for this whole
about
entire
to say,
movie.
nobody's listening to you this entire movie.
But I mean, there was no point. When was she ever appointed leader of the humans? Like, there was no point where she.
Why would
Because she rescued the little girl? Is that when she became hero of the humans?
Well, I mean, we had Ari's house assistant who told the story about that. He makes more sense to be in this role than she does.
True.
Unless she had said the line itself. If we saw her as some type of emissary between him and them, or that touching moment where he's walking in there, and I don't know, there's just.
Yeah.
I mean, if
They're
only,
just giving characters something to do.
If only these
basically.
humans had some place to go, like if they had come from someplace like their homes that they could go back to. I don't know.
But then, of course, we just kind of. She says they won't listen to me, and then for whatever reason, Kroll has to look at Leo. Leo has to look over at Estella, I think. Like this weird, like, why do we even need that? I'm looking at you. I'm going to look over there. Like, there's no need for this little cut back and forth of the
It
look.
would be really funny if somebody recut it.
Just
and
to keep looking around.
No,
and then you,
but then put his who farted
Yeah.
face in the middle, because then it would kind of make
well,
sense.
I wanted that, and then you cut to the good, the bad, and the ugly, where you get everybody looking around. You know.
Yeah.
So all the people begin to gather, right? They begin to gather towards him. I guess it's also traveled around that the army's coming, even though he just found
The
out
kid
30
just showed
seconds
up,
ago.
yeah.
Yeah.
That movement in that scene really bothered me. I'm like, there's no
Why are
reason
they-
for the
yeah,
people.
there's no
One or
motivation.
two leaders of the different pockets could come up to get what's
Right.
going on,
But
but
for
the
the
fact
whole
that they all
group,
just
yeah.
But how do they suddenly know the army's coming? And they all were able to wake up and get there. So what he does is he runs off. Like, he literally is in this moment. He's like, I'm going to run. And then he gets on his horse to make his announcement. He didn't need to run to the horse to get on. He just should have stood up on a rock and said something, right? And then run to the horse.
And he's assuming that they're coming for him. They're also, Ari's out there, Limbo's out there. How does he not assume they're also coming for the
Right.
apes that have
And
been
what
kidnapped?
has he done enough that has threatened this culture? Outside that they does know that the gun was that and all that tied to it. What has he done to earn this, that I'm the one they want?
To earn, because if they are literally bringing an entire army and the Senate is capitulated, Leo has a very high opinion of himself to think that they're only coming from him and not to wipe out every goddamn human out there.
Right. That he's telling them, don't want you to break up and scatter. I'm the one they're looking for. He doesn't think that they're now going to eradicate all the humans.
Humans that are out there. Yeah.
Like, they're just going to go hunt them all down now?
Yeah.
600 and something episodes of this podcast, we've said the word capitulated more than we've ever said it. Did you ever think you'd get to the point where we had to discuss the capitulation of
the
Senate in one of these movies? And I would also like to say, I'm pretty sure we've beat this minute to death.
Yeah.
It took 4 days this week for us finally to go, okay, here's one where we don't have a lot to talk about, because it is just... It makes no sense. It is, again, it's another situation where they're telling us a situation that there are no stakes attached. So I guess we're going to get a battle in a little bit.
All right. Maybe. We'll find out.
Again, in the last minute where he's on the mountain and we wanted him, and he heard children, and we wanted him to kind of like have this moment where he realizes he has to be a leader. We get to this moment and he's not being a leader other than saying that
Run away.
I'm going to do this. Like,
I have an idea.
What?
I have an idea how to say this movie. And it's because my kid. Have y'all heard about the show on Amazon called Daisy Jones and the Six?
Yes, I've
based
heard
on
of
our,
it, have not watched it.
Abby loved that book. It's kind of
I didn't know it was a book.
It was a book first, and it's the person, I believe it's the woman who wrote it, was very obsessed with Fleetwood Mac. Has an amazing history of like all the members kind of being in love with each other, and the album Rumors is truly one of the great breakup albums of all time because of that. Right. This author made a fictitious kind of story like that. One of the characters in it is having a hard time becoming a father to a child that he fathered because he had a bad father himself. The sounds of that baby make him They evoke things in him.
So maybe
had Leo had something at the first where
kids-
maybe he left kids behind and he
Yeah.
heard the children, maybe we bring it together and he feels the responsibility finally aching inside him. There are ways to do these stories.
And again,
It's just not there.
And again, him saying, "The only way that I can save you is to leave."
To everybody run
that would
away.
be even more interesting if we were to say that. Like,
And there, that could be his legend. That's when the legend
The
is
only way
born.
you're safe is if I'm not here. Yeah.
right. That would be a little more.
Give him at least reason for running away. or
right
whatever.
reason. Yeah. Otherwise, he's just saying,
Run away.
"Shoot, run away."
All right. We got one more minute of this shit.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
let's
You know,
jump on this
every
one.
minute we're closer to the end. That's the important part.
You know, we've apologized before for beating these movies to death, but at least, again, those other films had good things at their core. This one, man, it's not there. I think that's it.
All right.
I won't pontificate anymore. I'll simply say, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Come in